Kaleidescape, we got an issue going on here. The CEC function, you guys have these Kaleidescape machines out here that are this price with no CEC functionality. Let me tell you the problem that I'm having with my Strato V, right? And I'm back and forth emailing Kaleidescape, and I don't think there's going to be a fix to this. If you are running your Kaleidescape and it's plugged up to your receiver, processor, whatever, and you've got all your CEC functions on, right? Like your Apple TV, your receiver, your TV, all of the CEC functions is on, you know, because it makes it easier. You turn on one thing and everything turns on, right? You want to control the volume and all of that. Like, you know, one thing can control everything. That is... If you have CC functions on and you are running a Kaleidescape, you can be mid-movie or even in the beginning of a movie and everything will just shut off. You know, that happens quite frequently, and the only way to stop that from happening is to turn off all CC functions on everything. Your Apple TV, your receiver, your TV, CC functions, everything's to be turned off so that it doesn't trigger something to where that happens. And I don't care if these people get into the comments like, oh, that never happens to me and all that. Like, from all the research I've done, you know, and then my testing and everything, it seems like the only way to stop that is to have no CC functions on. So if y'all can come out with an update for CC functions for a device that costs over $4,000, that would be great. You know, y'all did an update recently to change a little bit of the UI, which is still not 4K UI. It's still a 1080p UI, which is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, if y'all can do an update to at least give us a 4K UI and CC function to get this thing up to modern standards, that would be nice. Right? Because now I'm starting to have an issue to where I've got one room set up, AVM 90 with the Kaleidescape, all the CC functions is off. But if my family or somebody wants to watch movies and I don't want them in my private like viewing theater, right? Because it's really only catered for one seat. If I want to bring it into the house where the other anthem is, you know, and I hook it up, that's got all the CC functions on there. I got to remember to turn off all CC functions or this thing's going to trigger something to turn off everything. You know, so that is something that you guys have to fix. And all of these dealers are not going to tell you guys this because they're just excited and happy to be dealers and sell the product. And maybe you guys have given some people Kaleidescapes from rentals, or I don't know what it is. But a lot of people are not telling the truth. I heard a couple people, you know, they slightly mentioned it. Oh, you know, movie was fine until the movie cut out, you know, laughing about it or whatever. But that's not cool. Like, this thing does not seem like it's consumer ready to me. You know, so if y'all can do that, update it, that would be a very nice thing. You know, or I'll just keep doing videos talking about it needs to be updated. You know, it has no CC functions, just whatever y'all want to do. Either y'all do the videos, or I do the videos, or y'all, you know, update it. You know, because I think it's ridiculous for this price point. Not only that, like the price of the Terra server is ridiculous. My Kaleidescape was $4,000, right? If I would have got it through a dealer, it probably would have been like $3,800 or something like that. What was it, like 3 months ago? But they just did a price increase, so now my Kaleidescape, the Strato V, is $4,400, right? On top of that, that only gets you 10 movies, right, that you can put on there. If you wanted to access all the movies that you bought through Kaleidescape, you got to get what's called a Terra server. This Terra server is almost $7,000 for, like, after taxes and everything. This thing's like, this is super expensive for 12 terabytes of storage on a Kaleidescape. If somebody asked me would I recommend a Kaleidescape right now, no, absolutely not. One, the CEC function is terrible. Like, it doesn't even have it. Two, it has no Wi-Fi. This thing has to be connected via Ethernet, right? And they want to make the excuse, oh, well, you know, if it speeds or whatever. There's tons of things that can get fast download speeds that doesn't require Ethernet, right? But if you want to have Ethernet, fine. But this thing is super expensive and you have no flexibility with that. Also, I feel like the downloading of the movies is being throttled, right? To force you to get the Terra server, you know, to download movies faster, which I think is just like another, you know, just cheaping out, trying to just get more money from people. One thing you guys at Kaleidescape have to understand, and I know you're just going for rich people that don't care about money, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just want to get all of it, right? You have to understand, consumers have to feel a little bit of value with the product, right? The value with the product I see now is just the convenience, right? If I see a movie that I might like, or might want, it just comes out or something like that, I can get on a Kaleidescape. Not all the time is going to be on Atmos, right? A lot of times, a lot of these movies are going to be DTSX, not even Atmos. So they market this thing is going to have the best, right? In terms of the best viewing experience, the best audio, video, all of that. But a lot of times it's not the case, because I like Atmos. Some people like DTSX, the older format, whatever. It's nothing wrong with DTSX, but Atmos is, I feel like it's a superior, like, codec. I just feel like it is. And a lot of movies are not in Atmos on Kaleidescape. Some of them are, but a lot of them are not, and more often than not, I'm starting to see that they're not. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes you can get tripped up because the way they have Dolby Vision on a movie, it might look like it's Atmos, and you might end up buying it and then finding out that there's no return policy, and then you don't have Atmos, you just got DTSX. So if y'all can, one, get Atmos on these movies, and then two, try to do some sort of CEC function if y'all can. We need CEC in 2025. Right? It's ridiculous. And three, get us away from a 1080p UI and get us to a 4K UI. If it takes a millisecond longer in moving through the UI because it's taking a little bit more system resources, fine. If your engineers are not that good to where they can make it run smooth, like, y'all have a problem. Y'all are charging way too much money to give us a 1080p UI viewing experience before you click on a movie to buy it. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So I would not, me personally, I don't care what these people are telling y'all out here, I would not recommend a Kaleidescape. I'm not telling you what to do. I just say I would not recommend it. Like, if you got a Doom player, you got a Zydu player, keep that. You know what I mean? If you feel like you want to take it up a notch in terms of maybe not having to burn things and have it be downloaded easy, go ahead and get a Kaleidescape. But if you get a Strato E or you get a Strato V, good luck. You're not going to have many movies on there. And some people think, oh, well, when I'm done with a movie, I'll just get rid of it. Sometimes you might have movies you want to go back and watch different scenes, right? And you only got 10. And a lot of times the Strato V only fits 9 movies. So if you got Dolby Vision movies, sometimes they're bigger in file size, right? So you may only be able to realistically fit 9 movies on there. And then, like, you got to delete it and then download another movie. And you talking about 112 gigabytes sometimes, or 70 something gigabytes at a time downloading movies. So you got to have a reasonable amount of data, to be able to do it. I'm not just talking about data speeds, but data. You might sit through and watch, maybe 10 movies a month, and you think about all the data that's going to take to do that. And then you can be throttled and all, then, they kind of force you in a situation where you got to start looking at a Terra server. And with a Terra server, is just too expensive. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. I don't know if y'all can't get the manufacturing down right, or you just want to take as much money as from the consumer as possible. I'm starting to feel like this is just a money thing. You know what I mean? And I get it. It's a Kaleidescape, like, it's different. It's, it's supposed to be a niche product and not that many people have it. It's a little exclusive. I get what y'all trying to do, right? But at the end of the day, this thing has no CEC function and a 1080p UI. I mean, non-exclusive things have better UIs than this. Apple TV has a 4K UI. You know what I'm saying? Adobe Vision UI, and it's smooth. Why can't y'all get y'all research and development down enough to where you can give us more than a 1080p UI? And if you're watching this thing, like the UI, if you're scrolling and you on a projector, good luck. You're gonna see a lot of ghosting. It's not gonna look good. You're gonna see artifacting, all of that with the UI. And this thing is supposed to look good, and it's over $4,000 for a Strato V. Ridiculous. When the movie plays, it looks good, but getting up to that point, it's a stressor. And then you got to think about scripts, right? Kaleidescape gives you the ability to make scripts. Let's say you want friends to come over, you want them to listen to demos and stuff like that. If you only have 9 movies, and if you're lucky, 10 movies on there, you can show them 10 demos, and that, maybe different scenes from like 10 movies, and that's it. Once the movie is deleted, you got to redo the script. So I mean, there's real concerns with this Kaleidescape that they're not going to tell you, that these reviewers are not going to tell you. But then it comes down to your use case, right? And then Kaleidescape's not putting something to your melon and making you do it. You get it because you want it, right? But it's caveats to everything, right? Zaidu player or the Doom player, you got to download everything. It's going to take time to rip or whatever. You know what I mean? And then you got to get the disc, and sometimes the disc takes forever to come out. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of different caveats to different things. But the Kaleidescape, I feel like the caveat should not be caveat, right? I don't think $4,000+ should give you a 1080p UI. I don't think this thing should not have a CEC function. I think that's ridiculous. I think the Terra server player I'm considering getting rid of my Kaleidescape just because of that. Like, I'm like, no, bro. Like, just because you guys are trying to overcharge that much, like even $2,000 is ridiculous. You guys are charging $6,000-$7,000 for a Terra server, 12 terabytes. And then you can't even buy like a lot of people. Well, I could just get like another storage unit, and they made it to where you have to get a Terra server if you get the Strato V. You have to, or it won't work. So it's it's just a money thing, bro. Like, home theater is becoming a money draining like pit. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Kaleidescape, please get that together. I'm tired of making videos about this, but I'll continue to make videos about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hopefully y'all can get CEC function so we don't have to turn off all the CEC functions on all of our different devices just to run a movie without all of our machines cutting off. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, just do something about that. 1080p UI, unacceptable. Do something with the price of the Terra server. If not, I'm out of Kaleidescape.